Good morning, everyone. My name is Jose Galvin, and I'm going to be starting this in just a second. Can everyone hear me okay? Good morning again. Um, if you are here for the SEO orientation, you're in the right spot. Once again, my name is Jose Galvin, and I'm happy to be helping out. Um, so just a quick background on me. I am not a vet tech or have a veterinary background, but I do have technical background in working for an ISP and a couple of startups, and love technology, love sharing it, and I'm glad to help today with this, this mystical thing called search engine optimization. I know more people are still filtering in, so I'm just going to wait another minute or so, and then we'll dive on in. If you'd like to speak, let me know. I can unmute you since there's not that many folks on today. Or if you'd like, you can just go ahead and shoot me, like some of you have done, shoot me messages in the chat, and then that way we can communicate. You can ask questions, and I have a rough guideline of what I'm going to be doing. But I'm here for you. So if you have a question, you think it's too out of left field, just go ahead and throw it in. This is an opportunity for us to just these orientations are a way to share information, to hopefully get everyone up to speed, and we have one-on-one orientations as well, where we will speak with folks and um, just really do it a more of a custom thing. Um, but that's what we're here for. So um, go ahead and get this started here. Okay. Well, now that we've gotten this far, again, this is eVetSites, and we're gonna for today. I'm gonna be using a couple of sites. My This is actually my veterinarian, and she's also our client. We're in the middle of doing a makeover for her, and that's something that we also want to go ahead and share, is let everyone know that if your site has you had the same design for a while, you'd like to get a new look or feel for it, like in the case here, we'll be glad to help you out with that. But today we're going to talk about search engine optimization. And with search engine optimization, there's a lot of questions about it, what it actually does, what it entails. SEO, in a nutshell, is two main things. It's all about the the on-site SEO, which is the stuff that's on your website. That means the actual content on your pages, the text, the images, how the page is put together. And then the other part has to do, so if we do a search for this, here is why these guys show up first. And we'll talk about that in a second. Um, and this is also the organic results. In other words, sometimes you'll see a search, and you'll see ads that pop up, and ads are not really part of SEO. Oh, and of course, when I want an ad, none of them are coming in. That's funny. The other part of it, which I mentioned briefly, the stuff that you do on the site. The other stuff that matters are the listings. In other words, um, the offsite SEO is the stuff that has to do with a little bit of marketing, the things that are linking to your page, links from other sources, links from search engines, directories, social media. All those things are references, and those are that side of SEO is what's called offsite SEO. It's all the stuff that's kind of pointing towards you. a rough analogy would be like if if you're selling real estate, or if you've got a veterinary clinic or a veterinary practice, you've got billboards, there's flyers, there's a little a coupon that you put in your local health food store or a bulletin board. All those things direct people to the practice, and those are the things that we can help you with as well. In this case, this site right here, which I'll share this link in the chat. This is a list of directories of people that link to your site. So, for example, you've got Facebook, the Apple Maps, which is the native map application on your site, Google My Business, which is the reason that you'll see things pop up over here. The Google My Business is the reason why this listing right here shows up for the practice. And we'll talk a little bit about this more in the coming week. This week, I want to talk more about the on-site SEO, but I did want to just give you a quick overview of the two things. And there's not we're not going to get really into the technical parts of it. We're going to talk about more just the overall feel of these things. So we've got on-site SEO, which is the stuff that's on your page, the off-site SEO, which are the links to the page. These are all free, by the way. For the most part, most of these are free, and most people can go ahead and verify them on their own, but we can walk you through it. And usually what I'll do is I'll have a conversation, just like we're having now. We'll have a Slack conversation, and we'll talk about, well, Jose, I need to do better for, town A or community B. And then we'll say, well, yeah, we'll look at these different things here and see how many you're listed on. Does anybody want me to use their site today as kind of a guinea pig? If so, put it in the chat, and I'll be glad to put them through. If not, then I will continue to use my trusty guinea pig, which is my dear friend Dr. True, and we'll get her in here. So, and I promise I know I'm going to say the stuff that's all the online, but this is I just wanted to show you a touch of this. So this right here, Moz Local, this is a they're sort of a clearinghouse for SEO things. They've got they also do support. Basically, you pay them and they'll do a lot of the work for you. But in every case, we still need a conversation. And what this thing does is it measures how many listings are out there. So if we look at this, we see that here's some incomplete listings. We can also see that some of them don't have all the information. Take a look at this. See how we've got one phone number here, but a different phone number here. And not just that, take a look at the web address. These are Midtown Animal Hospitals without a www. There is no web address here. This one has a doctor on, it's kind of off to their own, when really it should be Midtown Animal Hospital, because there's multiple doctors there. If you have a practice where there's just one doctor, then you may want to put the name of the doctor there. If you're a house call practice, if you're a mobile veterinary practice, maybe you want to just do that. But the point is that this we've got the tools. This is a free tool where we can kind of see how the listings are, and just get a really kind of overall feel for how the site's doing. And like I said, we'll dig more into this next week. That's the one that I've dedicated to that. But I wanted to talk about it because then there are some folks, especially if you have a new practice or you're rebranding, doing these listings is crucial. So if you're in any situation like that where you've got a new practice, or you're working for a practice that just went through maybe a management change or a rebranding, it's important to get a hold of those listings. All right, so let's talk about the content on the page and how this helps you. Google, I'll start with I'll start from the top. So how SEO works is, or search engines work, is they're kind of like census workers. stores, or if you've worked retail at some point in your life, they're kind of like, anybody that's done inventory. They'll come through just like they'll count up how many shirts or shoes or cereal or whatever you've got in the business. These search engines come through and they just scour all the text on the page. They look for links. They follow the links, and then they'll continue to go through and until they've cataloged as much of the website as possible. And then once they've got this body of information, what Google will do is it'll use that, and it has kind of a bucket of all this content, and it'll refer to it in case somebody is asking for Sacramento or Florida or Orlando plus vets, or I don't know, x-rays or vaccinations or whatever the case may be. Everybody searches for things differently. No two people really search alike. It's kind of like driving. But Google does have a kind of a running inventory of your website. And if you ever are curious as to what exactly Google has inventoried or cataloged, or the term that we use is indexed, you can find out by going to Google or Bing. I'm using Google just as the default, since they are the world's biggest search engine right now. If you go to site, and then your domain name, it'll pull up everything. So site, and I'll put this one in here. Another thing, outside of, SEO, if you're looking for something and I don't know, you're looking for something specific. Maybe you couldn't find out where it is, but you remember seeing it. It flashed through. It was a site that got tons and tons of different pages. You go here, and it'll tell you, here's all this stuff. I want a visibility running jacket. I still want to run out there. And then you can keep adding search terms, and it gets smaller and smaller. So these are only the things from Nike.com right here, because you're telling it, plus these qualifiers here. And you can do this for anything. There you go. So this is it's a cool tool to use. In this case, you can find out a whole lot of things about the site. We can see that there's about 100 results here. There's all these different pages. And this tells us something about the site. We can look at this little triangle here, and it'll tell us the last time that Google came by. Each one of these. All right, so they came by on the 16th. Now, if this page has been changed since then, maybe we've had a conversation about SEO, maybe we've updated it, maybe there's been some services that they stopped doing or that they added. If that's the case, since the last time it came by was on the 16th, nobody else knows about it. Maybe you put in there the names of the towns that you support or that you have clients from. Again, it's not going to be found. So then what you would do, you give me a call. We would install Google Webmaster Tools, Google Analytics. Actually, it's now called Google Search Console. And then that's a communication tool. It's a free way of letting Google know, hey guys, we've got some new content on the page. Come and take a look. In this case, the home page, they've been here sooner. Came by a couple days ago. And so as you can see, here's some communities that the practice serves. Earlier you saw that I put this in. I did this for a reason. So here in Sacramento, we have this new part of town, and much like every city has it, there's the new area that the local politicians love to throw money at. And sometimes it's a good thing, sometimes it's a bad, but so this area here is where the stadium is. They call it DOCO. And I was just on a lark, said, well, let me put this term in to see what happens. And well, as you can see, here it is, and it's going to pop right up in bold. And so anybody that's living in there, and these are lots of folks with money. There's some nice new buildings there, apartments, high density structures. And when they do a search for DOCO and vet, if they've moved here from the Bay Area, maybe they don't know anything else, they're going to go ahead and get a hold of my doctor and go over there. And in fact, I know this is working because she told me that she couldn't see my daughter's cat because they're very busy. So this is a good problem to have, to be busy and to have stuff in there. And so in this case, if you have a new neighborhood, you know, as much as people make fun of these sorts of names, you know, SoCo, Soda Spa, whatever, use them to your advantage. These are things that people are gonna find. Um, so use them to your advantage and put them on your site. And how we do that is, of course, you log in, you click on your key, you put in your username and password, and then you're going to go to edit content. So the very first thing about the content on the site is to talk about the areas that you service. Where do you have clients from? You know, a real simple sentence that you can do is something, and I'll put it in here too. You know, again, we're not writing a great American novel. We're just telling people kind of straightforward what we do. So look at your site and maybe see if the communities that you do have clients from or that you'd like to have clients from are represented there. Because even though Google knows geographically where you are, they can tell from a variety of different methods. One of them being your IP and your provider. So for me here, you know, I'm on Comcast Business. They can tell where I am, you know, just in general, because of that IP address and cookies and things like that. But you still, when you're doing a search, yeah, so here they know that I'm somewhere in Davis, somewhere over here. And here's eVetSites. But what you should do is talk about the areas of the communities that you service. If there are any particular services that you offer that your competitors don't, touch on them on your homepage and then go into more detail on other pages. So let's say you do boarding and you know, dedicate a page to boarding, and maybe put it under services or something, and then talk about that in depth. So for here, they've got a surgical FAQs where they're kind of going more into you know, detail. On the news site, there's some more information here where they're talking about different things that they're doing. So we have some specialist consultants. She's giving me some some content to put in here where they really want to talk about that. You can talk about the doctors. You know, here's some bios. You know, obviously right here, this is not the doctor, but this is just a kind of a framework. Talk about the team. If you don't want to put in there, not everybody wants to have their information on there. That's fine. But the nice thing about these bios is it gives people a chance to put in some local terms. So for example, here's some references to Davis, UC San Diego, um, all the different things that she's studied. So these things will come up. The more of these words you have, the more different terms you've got in this bucket, right? In the old days, well, you know, when maybe like a decade or two ago, you know, online, people used what were called the meta tag keyword. Google no longer uses those. The keywords now are the actual content on your page. So it's super important that if you want to show up for something, you actually mention it. And I know that sounds super obvious, but you'd be surprised how people say, well, you know, Sacramento is like right near West Sac. You know, why can't it just know that it just shows up for West Sac Bet? Well, I'll tell you, because West Sacramento, in the town that I live in, we're across the river, and there's just a VCA there right now. Oh, there's the VCA, and there's these other guys right here. So if you look at the map, oh, and I will talk about the map in just a second. So here's the two vets. So it's a whole different ballgame from the stuff that's going on over here. As you can see, there's many more veterinarians in Sacramento than there are in West Sac. We're kind of a small town on the other side of the river. Here's where all the movers and shakers are. This is the state capital, and we're kind of an agricultural area, which I love. But it's the actual term matters. So if you are in, don't just assume that because an area is near you, it will show up in search. Everyone got what I'm. That makes sense so far. And again, if anyone has questions, just interrupt me anytime. Glad to answer. The other thing about the content are images. If you've got images, well, here let me finish up on the actual content. You're not going to be able to put these towns on every page. You're not going to be able to talk about every service on every page. You've got a page that's dedicated to your services here. You've got a page that's for forms. Here's stuff about spays and neuters. Here's an employment page. Each page is going to be focused on these things. But there are some areas where you can kind of reinforce it. The areas here, I think that would also fit in well here. Here's a map, and again, this is kind of like Mad Libs, where we've got these words and we're looking for sentences to put together. So here it is for driving directions to Midtown, from Midtown and downtown, Northwood Park, West Sac, etc. So we've got these different communities here. You can do it in the contact page. You can maybe do it in the About Us. Maybe it'll be a little awkward doing that under the links or the prescription refill request. And that's okay. I mean, you're not going to put a round hole in a square peg. Just put that stuff in where you can. So that's good content. Talk about what you do, where you do it. And then again, if you have questions about that, of course, let me know. I'll be glad to help. Whatever original content you can put in there it's hugely important. We give people a kind of a framework, and sometimes this framework works too well because you get folks that are kind of complacent. They don't put in their own information, and it's sad because then we miss it. So this well-established full-service animal, I know for a fact, is repeated so many times. Take a look. See a well-established full-service small animal. I'm sure it's true, but even if you change this up a little bit, that'll help out. Google loves original content. This is one of their hallmarks. The different search, you've heard people talk about algorithms or the different factors that make up these things. The term for it is called a ranking signal. And one of the biggest ranking signals is the content, or how many times does something show up. The other thing is it original content, and all it has to do. Again, you don't have to write, a Steinbeck novel. All you have to do is kind of change this around. Our work here isn't work. We love treating your pet when they aren't feeling well. Just change it up a little bit. This is the easiest form of homework. You're copying it over, and all you're doing is changing it up. And ideally, it would reflect the practice. Again, we can do this one-on-one, but any sort of involvement you have with like a Little League, sponsorships, any sort of community involvement, all of those things help out. I'm going to show you one of my favorite sites. These are also some nice people. And if you notice here, these folks talk about the things that they do. They talk about the practice. We got these nice pictures of the family. And somewhere in here, all right, so here they're talking about these different stories that they do, where they interview them. And this is SEO gold, because this is links to these different stories that they have. Maybe you've shown up in something. They also do um, another program where they kind of, oh, here it is, Courage Funds. So they've got these good-looking dogs right here, these service animals, and they talk about how they help them out. And so he's helping out these law enforcement kiddos, these first responders, and they've got this fund set up where it helps them. It's a 501c3 deal, and this is, I mean, it's a cool program. Everybody wins from this. The community, there's some community involvement. It shows that they've got some ties there. They've added this content, and they're talking about this here. And this is all helping out, you know, with their SEO, because this is all original content. This is not something that you're going to find anywhere else. This is all the stuff that's been written about here. So if I do a search for this, here it is. Here's this part, and I think there's some more articles about that. But my point is that this is all original content. We didn't give this to them. This is just a great idea. If anyone wants that, maybe I'll put this in the chat as well, just to share. All right, so let's now talk about how we're putting it together. If you have images, if you have a stock image, replace it. Let's use an original image. Again, we love to hear, people love to see real people. They don't like to see, stuff like this. This is the facade of the building. And so let's use images that we've taken. If you have pictures of the parking lot in the building, that's great. But what we really like, what people really respond to, are faces. People faces, critter faces. Here's this beautiful cat. Whatever we can do. Here's some nice people wearing the shirts. These are some great pictures here. Everyone's smiling. This is all good stuff. We're kind of getting there here with this makeover, as you can see. We've got the crew there. Everyone's smiling. Here's all these guys hanging out. And so if you have images, if you need help with the images, let us know so we can help out. But definitely upload the images. And nowadays with smartphones, that we all have good cameras right in our pockets. When you're putting the photos in, let's put tags on it too. If you notice how I hover over here, we see veterinarian serving West Sac, Midtown, Downtown, North Oak Park, and more. Adding this image, this text, or the image to the text is, let me go ahead and put it here. I'm actually going to update this because she no longer has lots of different. So again, you go to edit content, and if you double click on an image, you'll see this part here that says image description. And so what I would do, in general, the image is going to have what the picture is about, or the name of the practice, your location, and a little bit about the practice or the image itself. So here we go. That's a little clunky. Let me fix that. There we go. So now when somebody mouses over, that information is going to pop up. This is called a image tag or an image description. If you'd like something with kind of step-by-step instructions on how to do that, I've got you here. Here's the how-to, step-by-step, and I also have some other examples. So, for example, if you have a staff member, you can put something like this. Here's our practice manager, Joe, veterinary clinic, Anytown, California. Or maybe you guys out of laser surgery. We offer laser surgery, vet clinic, Anytown, California. Whatever the case may be, whatever the image is, again, you've got the name of the practice, veterinarian serving town, village, neighborhood, and borough. Welcome to the site. And if you do this, you will be. This is a great ranking signal because you're going to be expanding the amount of times that it's going to come up. So in this case, Midtown Animal Hospital. You just increase that word. Most of the time, people won't even notice this stuff. Honestly, if they're kind of going through, if they mouse over, maybe they'll see it as it's going through. But it's more for the search engine because we're increasing the amount of times that term will appear. So every image is going to have this. Here we go, like Midtown Animal Hospital on Facebook. So that's a good one there. Any sort of images that you can do will help out. Nope, I'm not have to update them here. And I'll probably have to add them for these as well. Again, this is the makeover site, so it's not nothing. But make sure that the images are up to date. Use images if you have of faces. People respond well to faces, and then tag the images. So we've got the how-to right here under this SEO 103. How are we doing so far? Does everyone still think that makes sense? Again, I don't want to rip through. Oh, something else. I am recording this, so if you'd like to see it again, I will have it on YouTube later this morning. And again, that's at youtube.com/eVetSites. Right there. Okay, so I'm going to talk some more about content. We're going to talk now about titles. And if we noticed when we did the thing earlier, which with the site colon all right, so this is the search engine results page. You've all seen this. If I do this here, this is what a standard search engine results page looks like. You've got a map result. You have some videos. You've got the organic results here. And as you scroll down, you'll see also some related searches, right? So these are some different things. Hey, look, there's pictures of the Doco right there. Pretty proud to see that Midtown is the #1 on that. I'm again, I did that one just as a lark, but it's fun to see how it shows up. Now, I'm going to digress from content just to talk about the map for just a second, because I do get a lot of questions. No one's asked me about this yet, but I know that sometimes people say, well, how can I get higher in the map? Well, the map is an interesting creature. So this is still part of Google. And how Google ranks the map listings is just a little bit different than how Google ranks the listings over here, which are the organic listings. The listings, how they map the list, or how they rank the maps, has to do with, again, they're just normal factors like the actual term or the name of the practice, or whatever it is that you're looking for, but the location is super important. So if I were to do so here it is, Midtown Veterinarian. Now, you notice that Broadway is here, River Cat Clinic is here, and they're not too far. I mean, they're literally just blocks away. And what Google is using is the location for that. Big importance. So if you are trying to rank high for a town, ask yourself if you're really close to it. And then if you're not, don't despair, but look at the areas that are near you. So again, we're going to look at this, and then we'll look at West Sacramento. Again, not very far. We got 3 bridges. We're going to get a 4th eventually. Pretty simple to get across. Now, but there's kind of a mental barrier people have. It's like, oh gosh, it's all the way across the river. So, look at the context. Maybe you're not going to rank #1 for Midtown, but you're going to be great for Oak Park or Tahoe Park, which is where I grew up. And so if that's the case, then maybe do something like, and then, hey, look, there's an animal house called Services. Here's Franklin Animal Hospital. These guys are closer. Looks like there's an opportunity for another. Oh, there's a VCA over here. My point is that the areas matter. It's a really big factor. Don't let it overwhelm you or anything like that. And another thing that another big ranking signal when you're looking at these uh, different things besides the location is the reviews. So if you notice, some of these show up higher than others. This one has 114, and this one has 1. This one has 57. The more reviews that you have, the better. The more positive reviews. There is a way to generating a Google review link, and I can help you with that. That's a very simple way. I'll actually put it up here for now, just to do this. And I recommend everybody do this, so that way they can go ahead. I'll put it in. This is again, this is more uh, something that we can do one-on-one when we're having a phone conversation. But if you put one of these on your site, it'll make things easier for folks to leave a review, right? So if somebody wants to just click on it, it'll bring up the review box, and they can say something kind about the practice. So that's the just a quick detour into the maps. Again, your location has something to do with it. It also has your reviews, and part of it has to do with your Google, uh, having your Google business page, which we're going to talk about next week. Okay, so back to content. We've talked about the actual text content, so your locations and the things that you do, and original content. We've talked about images. And what I wanted to talk about now is the site titles and the description. So if you've done a search like this, you see that there's 3 main components. You've got this big blue link right here. You've got this green text. Oops, sorry. And then you've got this little snippet of text down at the bottom. So what these things are, and hopefully I can do this and not give everyone a headache from all the resizing. I apologize. All right. This works well if you have um, 2 monitors. If you've got a big monitor, you can kind of switch the windows like I'm doing here. So again, you're logged into your site, and if you notice, this information here, they all kind of follow a pattern. Name of the practice, location, what the page is about. And then we've got kind of a little snippet here that just kind of touches on just a 1-word summation of the page. And then we've got a little snippet here of text, for some content on the site. Here's how it works. So go to Edit Menu. So this is the home page. Midtown Animal Hospital, Sacramento, California, veterinarian. That's this field right here. Each page should have its own unique title, and the title should, the very bare bones should be name of practice, your location, what the page is about. If you want to include a sentence, you can. If the name of your practice is short, you can certainly use conversational English but just know that after a certain point, it's going to cut off. If you notice here, right after veterinary, it it's hidden. Whereas here we've got some more real estate that we can use, and veterinary services also has some space here. So what you can do when you do the site yourname.com, and this is something that I do whenever we have the one-on-one conversations, I make sure that these are all filled out, because every chance that you have to put the name and the city, I mean Sacramento's all over the place, right? All of these have Sacramento, all of these have that. Oh, look, here's one that needs help. Photo album, Midtown Animal Hospital. Now it does say something here, but remember that this big blue text is the first thing to come out. So let's look at this one, and we'll talk about how we can fix it. So here's the photo album, and if I see it here it just says photo album. So what can I do? Well, I'll go here. That's one way to do it. The other way to do it is to put them in like this. Because people read left to right, and maybe that's something that you want people to see right away, you can put the name of the page first. The other thing is now this thing, which is called the page slug. Now, you don't have to worry about this very often. Honestly, the time that you'll see this the most is when you build a new page. So for example, if I go here, and see, if you type this in here, it changes it. So you honestly don't have to worry about it. New page 31 probably doesn't give very, a lot of people any sort of information about what the page is about. But if you say or that gives people a little bit more information. Okay, delete this one and go back. So again, the photo album, I've updated this. Now I'm going to look at the description. So if I go here, there's honestly not a lot of pictures here. But if I were to use text, maybe I would say this. Sorry about that. Okay, so here it is. I don't know why it's now hiding, but there's the images, or the description. And you, if you notice, you've got this little ticker here. So if you start typing into the ticker, after a while it goes down. And that's because what happens here is there's only so much text that you can fit before it fills up. Again, if you notice, like right here, like on the home page, it cuts out after a short bit. I really recommend that you just use a sentence here for the title, or I'm sorry, for the description. Do not do this. Put in like, something like this, where it's just pets, dogs, cats, feline, canine. That's called keyword stuffing. It doesn't really help, and it's terrible to look at, because then when you're looking at it, over here, this kind of tells you something. Midtown Animal, full service veterinary practice. We specialize in small animal care. That helps out. That kind of tells me what it is. If I just see pets, canine, blah blah, that doesn't help out at all. So what I do is instead maybe just cut something like this, put it in. And there we've got a nice thing. Now you may ask, well, you know what? I want it to say something else. That's fine. You can do this in any order. You can make a nice description, but just make sure that that content is also on the page, right? Um, and so if you put something here, then it has to be on here. It doesn't have to be in that exact same order, um, but you want it to match. You want it to, because what Google is looking at is it's looking for bait and switch, right? Again, I talked a little bit about the keywords and stuff. Google doesn't use those anymore. And if you're saying, well, let's use another page. No, I need to open. I need to talk to these guys. So here's one of my favorite fast food places, and here they're talking about the stuff that they've got on their website. Now imagine, so here's coupons, info, raving fanny club, menu, and etc. Now imagine if you clicked on it and instead of finding those things, you got something else. You'd be a little ticked, right? Because you expect to see, well, here, look, there's the specials. If coupons and the information, if Google sees that you're saying one thing and then doing another, um, they're gonna. I'm not going to say they're going to punish you, but they're just going to rank you accordingly. So make sure that what you've got in there matches the content to some extent. Okay, let's go ahead and go back. And again, you can do that. You can do a quick assessment of your own site. If you see that there's real estate over here, in other words, there's a blank space, take advantage of it. Let's go into edit menu, name of the page, name of practice in your area, and we'll worry about the rest later. But that's great. That's a great way to improve your content and the way that Google finds you. All right, and so let me share now the document that I've written for that very thing. So here we see, there's the title and the slug and the description. Most of your slugs are going to be fine from the get-go, so don't worry too much about those. Titles and descriptions are what people usually have areas where they can improve. So again, avoid keyword stuffing. On your doctor's page, it might say, it's an animal clinic, our doctors, or maybe for the prescription refill, request a prescription refill online, it's an animal clinic, Sacramento, California. It's pretty straightforward. I kind of talked about the slugs and how they appear on a mobile device, but here are the step-by-step. I'll put it in the chat so everyone can see it. All right, does anyone have any questions about that? So far we've covered some content. We've covered the, having the original content, having the location area so you can help folks find you via location. We touched on the importance of tagging your images with the images. We also talked about the importance of the images or the titles, the slugs, and the description. So these are all things that you can do on the site. These are there's not a lot of technical knowledge there. We just got to really just kind of emphasize things that you already know and already do. Does anyone have any questions about any of that? Either the titles or the descriptions or the content or anything like that? All right, and after the, if you would like, I'm going to follow up anyways, just by looking at the submissions. Um, we can make sure that your site has what's known as Google Analytics, Google Webmaster Tools, uh, and those are ways to track that information so that we can then give it to Google, and let them know, hey, here's where the site's going. So, for example, go back here to Midtown. So I've put in success. Google has 20 of those URLs there. They may be a problem because we just added the just realized that we added the HTTPS, and so that may be one reason why it's not showing up. Let me do that right now. Yeah, there we are. Okay, so here, as you can see, there's this platform gives people a lot of information about the clicks, the visitors, that sort of thing. More importantly, it'll tell you if there's an issue with the site, if there's a page with errors, something configured, something that's not put together correctly. You can do that sort of thing. You can also give them what's called a sitemap. This lets Google know, well, here's all the different pages that are on a particular domain. They'll go take a peek at it. They'll look at the coverage. They'll see that there's these different pages that are making it. And if there's a page that you need to update, maybe um, maybe you wanted to say, oh gosh, did we work on any pages today? We did. Which one was it? Photo album. So I'm going to put that in there. And again, if you just leave it up to your own, the search engines will come and they'll crawl the site. But with this tool, which is free, you can actually request that they come by a lot faster. It's like playing fetch with a dog, except they're using it with the world's most powerful search engine. And because this benefits everybody. If they have the most up-to-date information about the site, that means people are going to use them more. You win because your most up-to-date information is out there for people to see. And you can also rank higher for whatever search terms you're doing. So just wanted to touch on this one since we're wrapping up, and let you know that we're on a mission to put this on every single website that we have at eVetSites. But if we don't have it, um, let us know. I'd love to set up a one-on-one with everyone that's on this call, and that way we can kind of really dive into it because every practice is different. I'm talking about some really general um, procedures that we can do for the site, but each individual one, every practice is different. We've got a unique geographical location, we've got unique staff, unique strengths, and so we want to talk about it. All right, so we've requested this index. That means that they're going to come by and take a peek at it, and hopefully later today, tomorrow, sometime. It usually doesn't take more than a day or so. They're going to have an updated version of that site, and hopefully we'll do better for that. All right, as we finish this, we've got a couple of minutes left here. Does anyone have any questions about anything that we've covered? All right. Well, thank you all. I really wanted to thank everyone for taking the time out of your days to spend time with us and hopefully learn a thing or two about SEO. Um, I know sometimes people have questions after the fact, so if you need to send us anything, I'll keep the chat open for just another minute or two. You can also email us, support@eVetSites.com. I will try to reach out to everyone that registered anyways, just to follow up. Um, and that way we can do a one-on-one consult where we can, not even a consult, we'll just call it conversation and talk about the individual things that we can do for your practice. Um, invite you all to follow us on social media if you have any, if you'd like to keep abreast of it, all the things that we're doing. See us at a conference or anything that we're, any sort of new things that we're doing. Uh, Here they all are: Facebook.com, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, /eVetSites on every single one of those. Whichever one is you'd like more, let us know. And I'd like to thank everyone again for spending time with us this morning. Uh, we know you're all busy, and hopefully we'll see you again next week so we can talk more about uh, the directory listings and the off-site SEO things we can do. Touch a little bit on marketing and social media and the stuff that we're showing you here. Again, my name's Jose. Thank you again. And if anyone has questions, let me know.